Hello everybody, welcome to the first episode of my music breakdown series. What this series is going to be is basically me going over my own original works and explaining the music theory and music making process behind them. Initially I was planning to go over the entirety of my most recent piece, To Live a Dream, but that ended up being over an hour long, so for all of our sakes, I decided to trim it down to just one section of the song that I'll be going over. And before we start real quick, I just want to talk about why I am creating this series. I think it is very important for composers or music makers or songwriters to be able to elaborate on and explain their own works, why they do what they do, and how they came to those decisions. Because not only does it allow others to learn off of them, but it also shows that they have a good understanding of their own works and a good understanding of why whatever's happening is happening in the music. In fact, if my favorite artist, uh, Cody Fry, and a band called Polyphia, they both have their own series dedicated to explaining their music, and those two series were my inspiration for this. I think it's a wonderful thing to do for songwriters or music makers, really any artistic or creative type, to be able to explain to the audience how what they're doing works, why it works, and how they came to that. So, without further ado, let's get into the ending of To Live a Dream. So, we have the sheet music right here. I would play it through MuseScore's audio, but unfortunately, OBS hasn't been reacting very kindly towards MuseScore recently. The audio's been super choppy whenever I try and record. So for now, I'm just going to instead be playing this final section on the piano. And just the chords. I don't mean the little passing tones in between the chords, just the chords themselves. So, here we go. That's very that's very nice, isn't it? I'm quite a fan of that. In fact, I would even go as far to say that that's probably my favorite piece of music that I've ever made. Not just on this work, not just in To Live a Dream, but out of anything I've ever created. I'm really quite satisfied with how this turned out. And before we dive into the specifics of this section, we first need to understand the context behind it. So throughout this entire piece, it's been very purposefully tense. A lot of dissonance, there's not a lot of one chords, so you're not really going home too much, except for maybe the beginning of a section, and that's usually about it. So for about 5 or so minutes, we've had nothing but this really tense, really dark music with not much resolution to it. And that's what this is supposed to finally give you after a little over 5 minutes. So, what this is also supposed to represent is you, or the character, or whoever, waking up. Since this is meant to be this piece is meant to be about the life cycle of a dream. This is when you finally have awakened and come to your senses. And the entire bit before this brings back the melody from the swing section. It goes through some whole tone and diatonic triplet ones. All of that is you waking up. And this is you when you're actually awake now and you're aware of your surroundings and whatnot. As you wake up, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I personally find it very difficult to remember dreams. In fact, they're usually gone soon after I wake up. And that's why I wanted to try and create with this final bit, was that sensation of forgetting something that you just lived through. But that's not a bad thing, per se, because it is, after all, just a dream, and no matter how grand a dream might be, it could never compare to the authenticity and beauty of real life. So, what we have here is we're in the key of B flat major, and we start on the 5 chord. We start on F dominant 7. I'm playing these, by the way, in the voicings that's in the piece. If I were to play it in its fully basic first inversion form, which all these chords are technically, not first inversion, root position. If technically all these chords are in root position because that's what the bass note is, but once you get above the bass note, the notes start being out of order. So this is what the F dominant would sound like in its basic position. And here's how it sounds like in my piece. And all the chords are like that. They're slightly different. But anyway, we start on F dominant 7. That's the 5 chord of the key. Then we just do a diatonic walk down. We skip the 4 chord, but we instead land on the 3 chord, which gives us D minor 7. Then we walk down to the 2 chord, which gives us C minor 7. And now here's where it gets interesting. Usually from here you would expect it to go straight to the 1, for it to go straight to, in this case, B flat major. So usually you would expect, I don't know, maybe something like this. It sounds nice. It's very resolved, very intentional. You're just walking down the scale until you reach the 1 chord. But it sounds nice, like you've been waiting to get there and you already knew that you were going to get there. But that's not what I wanted to go for. It's a bit, for lack of a better word, cheerful. And there is a difference between cheerful and happy. Because what I wanted my piece's ending to be, I wanted it to be happy, but not cheerful. I mean, think of it. Are you usually cheerful when you wake up in the morning? Unless you have something special planned for throughout the day. You're definitely happy, but it's not like you're exuberant or anything like that. So I wanted it to give a positive emotion, but not quite so exuberant, I guess you could say. Not quite as intense, perhaps. And so what I did, instead of going from this C minor 7 to B flat major. I instead went from C minor 7 to C flat major 7, and then we arrive at B flat major. I quite like that. I like it quite a bit. So why does that work? How does that happen? So what I did was a variation of what's commonly called a Neapolitan chord. What is that? So a Neapolitan chord would be a Neapolitan chord is typically played in a minor key. So for this example, let's say we're in A minor, in the key of A minor. So what it would usually do, it would take that second chord, which in A minor is a B diminished. That's the second chord of an A minor scale. It's B diminished. So what it does is it takes that and then it flattens the second note of the scale, so B. So we're going from B to B flat, and that gives us B flat major. That's the only note we're changing, is simply B to B flat, keeping all the other notes the same, but now we have B flat major. And on top of that, what they usually do is play it in, how it's usually done is it's also played in first inversion. So the B flat would be at the top. So it would go D, F, and then B flat, like this. And usually it's followed by the dominant of the key and then the tonic. So you would have the Neapolitan chord. Oh. My ears are still adjusted to B flat major. So we have B flat major, this is our Neapolitan chord. Then it would go to the fifth chord, which in this case would be E, E dominant. E major, my apologies. And then it would resolve onto A. So something like that. That's one way you might see a Neapolitan chord used. But I took quite a big variation. I had quite a different take on it. So for one, we're in a major key, not a minor key. We're in B flat major. So we're in B flat major for one. But I still wanted to take the second chord of that key and turn it into a major chord, because usually the second chord of a major key is a minor chord. So I wanted to take that minor chord and turn it into a major chord, while also having it be a seventh chord and not just a simple triad. So how I accomplished that was I flattened the second degree, which is something you would do with a normal Neapolitan chord. But then, in order to make a major key, major chord, my bad, I also had to flatten the sixth degree of the key. So what that does is that gets us C flat, which is just a B. A C flat is just a B. So that gets us C flat, E flat, G flat, and B flat. That's our C flat major. And then, that's another thing, it's also played in root position, so C flat is at the bottom as opposed to at the top. So C flat major 7 to B flat major. It's quite nice, isn't it? I know I've said that, but I can't get over just how much I like that sound. It sounds a lot less bombastic than the alternative of going straight from C minor 7 to B flat major. But it sounds more peaceful and more calm, almost serene. Like you've been fulfilled. And I really enjoy that. Another reason why that works so well, is because going from C flat major 7 to B flat major, playing it with the voicing that I did, which was C flat, E flat, B flat, G flat. So playing it with that voicing, all of the note changes are incredibly small. One of them, the alto sax's B flat, doesn't even change at all. The alto sax just plays another B flat. And then all the other instruments, all the other notes, they only go down by one step. So they're not making a big move at all. They only go down by one semitone. Plus you have the alto that's just playing the same notes again. So it goes from this. It almost sounds inevitable. I quite like that. In fact, I'm paraphrasing here, but Jacob Collier once said that he was specifically referring to bass notes, but this is true for really any note in the chord. It does make, when you're going between two chords and there are multiple notes in the chord that are either, between the two chords, are either the same or very close to each other, it almost sounds inevitable. So we're arriving at home, we're arriving at B flat major, but it's almost like we never left. We were always home. Now we just simply know that we are and are fully aware of it. And I think that's quite nice, and also leads into what I was trying to go for, but this is a dream. During all the darkness, all the happiness, everything that's happening in the dream, you're still in real life just laying in your bed. So you've never left home. You've always been there. And so having this C flat major 7 to B flat major, I think it really quite emphasizes that. And I'm really happy with how that turned out. Probably my favorite bit of music I've ever made out of everything I've ever made. So I'm quite happy with it. That's all for today, really. If you're curious about how to achieve the ending that I did, have it be the one bit of true final resolution in the entire piece. Have it look like something familiar. You already know where it's going to go. Diatonic walk down from the 5 to the 3 to the 2. You already know that it's eventually going to land on the 1. But then that flat 2 surprises you. But not in a bad way, in a very pleasant, it's pleasantly surprising before then finally resolving onto the one chord, which should have very small voice leading, very good voice leading, because out of the 4 notes, one of them stays the same and the other 3 only move by 1 semitone. So yeah, that was the ending of To Live a Dream. I hope everyone enjoyed. If anyone has any further questions, I'll be going through the comments for a bit. I can try to explain anything y'all want me to as briefly and as well as I can over text, over typing. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. I already know the next project I want to work on. Hopefully, I'm hoping to finish it by the first week of November. Maybe the second week, but hopefully by the first week, or finishing it sometime in the first week. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. Have a good day, everybody. Bye bye.